Terminator 2. Bad to the bone! What's going on, everyone? Today we're going to talk about, if you don't get that reference and you haven't seen this movie, that song is synonymous with this movie. Like, when I hear that song on the radio, Bad to the Bone, I think about Terminator 2. When he gets that leather jacket on, steals that motorcycle and the shotgun that he uses, like the model 1887 type shotgun, like that arm trick he does with it, just poof. So many iconic things about this movie, just like the first one. This is like a perfect sequel. If they were going to make a sequel to the Terminator, this is the sequel that you would be hoping for back before this came out. And this is arguably one of the best sequels ever made. Like, this is up for debate as, is it better than the original? Is it not? I used to always think it was, but after rewatching the first one, I really love the first one. So I'm kind of like on both sides. Like, I like certain aspects of the second one better. I like some aspects of the first one better. It's hard for me to say right now, but I think I'm leaning towards the first one. This one's definitely the more sci-fi action, whereas the other one was more of a thriller action with some sci-fi in it too. But yeah, they feel like two different movies. It's like Alien and Aliens, that type of situation where one feels like this type of genre, this one kind of goes into this genre, that type of situation we got here. And I think this was the most expensive movie ever made at the time. It cost over $100 million, which of course movies nowadays like Avengers, Endgame, and whatnot, it cost over $250 or $250 million, like $350 million, I think, for Avengers Endgame or some shit like that, something crazy. But they made their money back. Oh boy, did they! But this movie is so awesome that they made a Universal Studios ride, which also cost like over $60 million to make, which they just took out of Universal Studios 2 years ago. That's a freaking shame. That was the best ride at Universal Studios, and they took it out. Once again, written and directed by James Cameron, once again starring Arnold Schwarzenegger as the T-800 Terminator. And we got Linda Hamilton reprising her role in the first movie that Edward Furlong did. He was in Pet Sematary 2 the same year or the year after this came out. So this was his beginning. This is his first breakthrough in film. And he's honestly the only, like, actor in the whole film. Great performances by a lot of people, but he's the only actor that stands out. And it makes sense because he's a child actor, and this is his first role. But we got all these great performances. We got all these people coming back. We got cast continuity. And the story, once again, is about a Terminator going back in time. Just in case you don't know, I'll tell you real quick. It's about this T-1000 upgraded Terminator who goes back in 1997 or 95, somewhere around there, to make Judgment Day happen by killing John Connor this time instead of Sarah Connor. And the T-800 gets sent back in time to protect John Connor and Sarah. So, that's the story. Very simple, but very awesome. Let's talk about it. First up, one of the big positives is the CGI. This stands out. This is like a benchmark for CGI. Like, this was the first like great use of CGI. This is 1991. This was being made in 90. And this movie couldn't be made right away. They wanted to make this movie a lot sooner. As soon as the first one was done, they were talking about it. But then there was like some legal rights issues, kind of like the shit that's going on with Friday the 13th. But there was those rights issues, but there was also technical issues because James Cameron knew what he wanted to do, but he knew that the technology wasn't really all there yet. So they had to wait a while, and they finally got the rights thing settled in 1990, and they started filming almost immediately. They're like, all right, let's do it. And we got this masterpiece. But yeah, the CGI with the whole T-1000, the whole liquid metal. He's not even a robot, technically. He doesn't look like a robot. He's liquid. How do you create that? He's liquid, and he can make sharp metal objects, like the hooks, the knives. This movie has horror elements to it, just like the first one, with the effects by Stan Winston once again. I think he did some effects on The Thing, John Carpenter's. Him and Rob Bottin, I think that's his name. But his effects are phenomenal. The sound effects in this movie, the explosions, all that shit. This movie has a lot of action. You got all that great car chase sequences that you get from the first one in here again. The whole car going over into that sewer tunnel, whatever the hell that thing is. What is that? The whole San Andreas, Grand Theft Auto looking area. I have no idea. I mean, we don't have those here in Ohio, so is that a common thing in California? That long ass like just area that you probably see skateboarders, punks going like. What is that for? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not an architecture person. I didn't study that type of shit, so I don't know. But just the CGI is the biggest positive, and the performances, and the whole arc of Sarah Connor. She went from the waitress in part one to this badass, not gonna take shit from no one, like awesome, like doing pull ups. She's got her like bunk bed flipped upside down. She's doing like pull ups, like getting in shape for Judgment Day. And then in part three, we find out that she died of like leukemia that year in like '97. Does this movie take place in '97? It's confusing. They say that John Connor in here is 10 years old. So it would either be 94 or it would be 97 because he looks like he's 13. And then when you watch Terminator 3, they say that John Connor was attacked when he was 13. But then when you read the description for this movie, it says he's 10 years old. So what the fuck is it? I don't know. But I would like to believe he's 13 because there's no way he's 10. That would be my nitpick for the film is that he is not 10. No fucking way. Riding that bike the way he does, all the shit he does, the knowledge he has of the whole like computer thing, and then how he uses that later on to like type in the code to get the chip, even though the Dyson guy was like, the silent alarm went off. We can't get anything. Codes won't work. And then he's like, well, I'm going to get a code anyway. And now it works. That's a little logic issue I have, unless it could be explained away. Just a little logic issue. So yeah, just to throw a quick couple of negatives in here real quick. I think John Connor, Edward Furlong, I thought his acting was weak, the weakest definitely of the bunch. There's moments where he has to get hysterical or start crying. It's good at some parts, but it's just kind of cringy in some others. He's also a dick. There's a scene in here, I'm not sure if this is like the unrated version that I was watching that has this scene where he calls over these two punks to like help him, and then when they go to help him, he just treats them like shit, so that kind of like diminishes his character's likability right there. Like, dude, I understand you're young, but fuck you, that was a mean thing to do. Having Arnold beat up those punks who were trying to help your ass, you're a dick, John. So yeah, but yeah. He doesn't look 10. There's some plot conveniences, just convenient things like Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's like riding the bike through LA. LA's pretty huge, and he just so happens to look over and see John Connor on his bike in that one area that I was talking about earlier. It's like, really, just little conveniences like that, how that lines up perfectly. I guess it's just fate, so you just kind of excuse it. And then there's obvious stuntmen, like when Arnold especially is like doing these bike stunts. You're like, that's not Arnold. I can see that. So yeah, especially with the Blu-ray transfer that I have, it's so obvious. And here's a little logic issue I have also with the plot. So Skynet is built because they were able to take the ARM and CPU chip from the Terminator in the first movie to learn about that technology and therefore make it happen. But if they never went back in time, then it never would have happened. So like, I just explained that one to me. So if the Terminator never went back in time, therefore Skynet never would have happened, but yet then why did the Terminator need to go back in time to stop something that never would have happened? You get it? Do you get where I'm coming from? I don't understand it. It's just convoluted as fuck. Unless you're like one of those people who believes that the future and the past is all happening at the same time, all these different like parallel universes, that shit. I don't believe in it, so it's just a logical issue I have with the plot of how Skynet becomes a thing because of the first movie. Just like John Connor's dad having to go back in time to create John Connor, even though John Connor already existed in his timeline, makes no sense. But back to my positives again. I really like Patrick, what's his name? Robert Patrick, the guy from Die Hard 2. I like the differences between, like, you got the slender Robert Patrick versus the T-800 Arnold Schwarzenegger, and you think that he's going to be like easily outmatched, but then immediately they establish like, no, this is an upgraded version and he is a force to be reckoned with. It doesn't matter if he's muscular or not, he is a threat, damn it. I just love his performance. I love the way he runs too. That was always scary to me too. Just the way he ran was always kind of intimidating to me. So yeah, just like how they're polar opposites, Arnold and Robert Patrick. And I like the whole, like, he's more upgraded versus he's like the old technology. He's Windows 10 to Arnold Schwarzenegger's Windows 95. And I like the makeup effects in this movie too. Like, not the CGI. The CGI is amazing, but just the makeup effects of like the blade going through the guy's mouth, the finger going through the guy's eyeball. They hired twins in this movie. Linda Hamilton has a twin. I didn't know that. There's a scene where there's two of them. I thought that was just an effect, but nope. I guess Linda Hamilton has a twin. And the effects of Arnold's face when he's getting all fucked up towards the end, and he's like Two-Faced now. He's got like half robot face, half human flesh. Just the effects, I like that. I also like that Arnold's good now, and this is something that I was wondering when I was watching the movie, because I said in my first review, I was like, I wonder if the reveal of Arnold being a robot, cyborg, whatever you want to call him, T-800, was a reveal. Like, if you went into that movie not seeing a trailer, would that have shocked you? Was that supposed to shock you? In this movie, I wonder if it was supposed to be a shock because of the way it's done. When the Robert Patrick, the T-1000, reveals himself to be the one there to kill John Connor versus protect him. And, you know, like, when you see Arnold, you think he's back to do the same crap. He's back once again as the bad guy. And Robert Patrick's supposed to be the good guy because he's wearing the cop outfit. He's talking to kids. He's interviewing them. Like, have you seen this kid? He sounds polite. But then it's like a complete 180. Like, oh, shit, Robert Patrick's the bad one. I wonder if that was a twist. If that was supposed to shock you. If you didn't watch a trailer in 1991 and you went to see this movie, but you knew the premise of the first one, was that supposed to shock you? Just one of those things I was wondering when watching this. And I really dug the relationship between John Connor and the T-800. Like, he's like a father figure to him. And I just kind of like that little relationship between them that was explored some. He's teaching him catchphrases. Hasta la vista, baby. You know, chill out, dickwad, or something like that. It kind of reminded me of the new Child's Play. And basically, it ripped this movie off. You know, like, Chucky is basically a T-800 himself. And he's, like, hurting and cats and stuff, and Andy's like, no, you can't hurt people, you can't kill. And John Connor has to do the same thing to the Terminator, like, you can't kill, promise me you won't. So it just reminded me of Child's Play, but I just like their little chemistry together and how he's like a father figure, so I thought that was kind of nice. Overall, just a very awesome movie. It's definitely a classic in its own right. It's one of the first ever like uses of CGI, like main characters or using natural human motion with CGI. It's a breakthrough in technology, just like The Matrix. People point to The Matrix when it comes to CGI and what that was able to do. This is another one. This movie was obviously a classic at the time. You could tell watching. There's so many iconic moments. And it's definitely worth a watch. I think it's one of the best sequels ever made. So when it comes to Terminator 2, if you haven't seen it already, please check it out. Go out and buy it because this movie is a masterpiece. And those are my thoughts on Terminator 2 Judgment Day. What did you think about it? Put your thoughts in the comments below. Look out for my Terminator 3 review coming out soon. And I'll be doing Salvation and Genesis leading up to Dark Fate coming out this Halloween. So put your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Hit the like button to show your support. And you can become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.